I'm back with another monthly update video. In this video, I'm going to cover the household money highlights. The household money highlights is where I discuss the budget outcome, the largest spending categories. I also go over spending surprises that we might have had, as well as any regrets or any money wins that we experience and we can celebrate. And finally, under the money highlights, I go over any upcoming, expected but irregular expenses. Those are expenses that are either covered by a sinking fund if they're big enough, or if they're small enough, they're covered by a one-time payment. I do know that they're coming. I expect them to come, but they're not expenses that come up every month in the budget, so I highlight them in that category. As I do more of these update videos, I think of ways that I can make them more interesting to people who are watching. So I decided that going forward, I'm going to expand them by adding a debt progress. In that category, I'm going to go over the mortgages for our primary residence, the 2 rentals that we have, and our car note. We did get a car recently and we did take out a loan to purchase the car. I made a separate video on that talked about the process of buying that car, as well as the impact of that purchase on our overall debt situation. At the end of last year, I decided to make a list of challenges that I was going to try and accomplish throughout 2022. And I also use these monthly updates to discuss those challenges. First, I do a recap of the previous month's challenge as well as the outcome of the challenge, meaning whether or not I was able to meet it. And then I do an announcement of the following month's challenge. I give a prediction of whether or not I think I'll meet it. But first, here's a little bit about me. Hi, welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching. Here's a little bit about me. My household consists of myself, my husband, and my toddler. My mom also lives with us, but she's not included in our finances. We live in a high cost of living city in the Northeast. My husband and I both went to graduate school, but fortunately, we no longer have student loan debt. I work in banking and he works in aviation. I take care of the family's finances, and I love my role as the self-appointed CFO. I love to talk about all things money, whether it's investing, saving, or making money. I look forward to sharing a wealth building journey with you. I look forward to getting to know you, and I hope you enjoyed this video. On to the money highlights. Here's what our household spending looked like for the month of March. The budget outcome was overall favorable. We were either at budget or under budget as a whole. I also like to highlight some specific categories because those help to give a better picture of the areas that we're doing well in and the areas that we're not doing so well in. Fortunately, we came under budget for dining out, which is an area that is typically a struggle for me because I do love to eat out, but we didn't do as well as last month. We came under budget only by about $30. This year, I've been making a genuine effort to be much better at meal prepping so I don't have to buy lunch a lot of the times, and I think I've had some success with that. But we also had a birthday this month, which led to a larger than normal eating out bill. I expect April is going to look much better. As far as being over budget, there were no categories that we were over budget in. Our top 3 largest spending categories were the mortgage, where we paid $2,700, the daycare bill, which is $1,360, and then the heating bill, which was $588. We've had some pretty cold months this year, and our heating bill for the month of February was also pretty big. The top 3 spending categories totaled $4,648. Mortgage and daycare is always our largest expense, and those are fixed costs, but I am curious to see what our 3rd largest category will be as the weather continues to warm up and we're not paying that heating bill. If you are enjoying this video so far, don't forget to hit the like button so the algorithm knows that it's good, and of course subscribe for more content. If you think any of the information that I provide here might be helpful to somebody else, be sure to share it with them. We did have one spending surprise in March, but fortunately it wasn't very expensive. I had to pay $55 for snow removal because we had a late February / early March storm that we weren't really anticipating. One day it was 40 to 50 degrees, and 2 days later we got about 6 inches of snow. As far as spending regrets and spending wins, I also don't have any spending regrets this month. And besides that one birthday gathering that we did, our dining out costs remain low because I'm continuing to meal prep. Although I was only under budget by $30, I still consider it a win. As far as uncommon expenses or money moves that I'm expecting for the month of April, we will have to spend money on tax preparation fees. We do our taxes ourselves. We do not pay a CPA to have it done for us, but it's still not free. And I'm not entirely sure how long this is going to take, but I am hoping to get my tax refund at some point this month as well. I am expecting a pretty sizable tax refund because of the plug-in hybrid vehicle credit that we received. The car that we purchased recently is one of the ones that qualify for that tax break, so we'll be getting some money back from Uncle Sam. On to our debt update. Here's the progress that we made last month. The largest debt that we have is on our primary residence. That loan is fixed at 2.63%. The remaining balance is $404,722, and that is a decrease of $758. The second largest debt that we have, the mortgage on our rental, that is another fixed loan. This one, the interest rate is 3.75%, and the remaining balance is $158,761. I went to go pay the bill in March, and then I realized that I was actually 1 month ahead. So I skipped the March payment, which means there was a $0 decrease from the last time that I reported an update. The third largest debt, another rental that we have, fixed at 2.75%. The remaining balance is $114,534. That went down by $554. And our lowest and newest debt is the car note. The car note is fixed at 1.9%, and the remaining balance is $55,440. We made the monthly payment and it went down by $908. Combined, that is a total of $2,220. That is how much we paid down our debt by in the month of March. Here is how we did on the challenge. The challenge was to review your credit report, dispute any errors, and address any derogatory items. Initially, I predicted that I would pass this challenge, and I did. For me, this happens to be a routine activity. I look at my credit reports pretty regularly, and that's not just to make sure that my score is optimal. That is part of it, but I want to make sure that there are no errors being reported and that my identity isn't being stolen. As you know, by law, you are entitled to one credit report every year from each of the 3 bureaus. But as a result of the pandemic and all of the financial issues that people were having that were leading them to request deferrals on a lot of their debt, and the fact that student loans were paused, the credit bureaus started offering access to your credit report for free, not just for the once a year that you're allowed, but they started doing it so that people could access their credit reports once a week. While I'm not necessarily checking once a week, I am checking often enough, so that was an easy challenge. For the next month's challenge, this is the month of April. This was an easy one to select. The challenge is to file your taxes correctly and on time. I think it's a good thing for people to know how their taxes work. It's very important because sometimes you talk to a lot of people who don't even really understand how marginal tax rates work. And I think that is a basic in financial planning, to know how your taxes work. You don't have to become a tax expert, but at a minimum, you should become an expert in your own taxes. But there was also a part B to this challenge. The part B is to max out your Roth IRA for 2021. The reason why I combine those two is because the deadline to max out your Roth IRA is the same as the tax deadline. You actually have 15 and a half months to max out your Roth IRA for the previous calendar year. So if you had not yet maxed it out, or you had not yet contributed to your account, you have until mid-April, the same day as the tax deadline, to do that. The prediction that I have for myself and my ability to meet this challenge is that I am going to be successful. I'm not trying to give myself too much credit here or pat myself on the back. It's simply easy to meet challenges when you start early. In my case, I actually maxed out my IRA before 2021 ended, so I can check that off the list. And as far as the taxes go, I expect to be able to complete them by the end of this week, because this is another area that I started early. I do have a lot to look at when I file my taxes, but I start gathering my documents early and I start plugging in my numbers as soon as documents come in. I don't wait until the last minute. Some are a little slower to come in than others, but the ones that do come in early get handled almost immediately. That means once I started getting the last of the files that I needed in the last week or two, I started working on them, and the next few days are going to be a matter of looking at my numbers, going over them one last time, double checking them to make sure they're accurate before I finally submit them. So I think it's fair to say that overall, I'm predicting a win for this challenge. If you've made it this far, thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you in the next video. If you have any questions about our finances and how we're handling them, leave me a note in the comment section below, and I will be more than happy to answer.